Hello, welcome to VAB Learn. Today we're going to talk about block printing. This is a print that I did for a juried show, and it's based on one of our vacations. And why I'm starting off with this, you can see a whole lot of different tones. With block printing, you have to cut into a surface, so all these white lines that you see in here were all cut into a Lino block, where the white of the faces and the white of the hands and everything, that was with bigger tools cut away into it. What is unique on this compared with others that I've done over the years is I actually used a tool called a Dremel, which is a rotary device that you can do various things with. What I used it for was make all these little holes as negatives so the ink would print around them and not print them. So you got the fife and drum players, you've got the feeling of the uniforms and the dimension of it, a simplification of the image on the actual faces and everything, because you are limited to how much you can put in there, and then an indication down below here and below here with the nondescript background as if they're outdoors. We don't know what this is, sky or building or whatever, but it is what you decide as you're cutting as to what you will reveal. Here is the second lino that I did, and this is based on a family photo, and this being my wife's great-grandmother. You can see again, just like in the first one, that I simplified the image of the face, but I do have a fair amount more detail because the eyes in this one were a lot smaller than the eyes in that one. Again, went with different textures for her outfit and different tones for the two types of cats and everything. And then a nice bold, bigger cut marks in the background, down into smaller ones, and then the wood grain effect for the building and the table with the actual water bucket on and everything too. This is another block print that I did based on old family photos. And in this one you can see the bold cutting that I did in the top. It just revealed wispy lines, fairly solid abstracted shapes for the tree itself. It's called Group of 7 Plus Dog because there are 7 people and a dog in the scene. So very, very fine lines for the roof and the steps out front and everything. Very intricate little workings to show that it's a brick house. And again, just a mono print this time. For the foreground stuff, similar to what I did up here, but with a lot more dominance to it, is the foreground, and the grass is then put in. And even the fine lines for the fence. As with the previous one, there wasn't much detail on the faces. These ones here are even smaller, so a lot of these faces we know they're people, but we don't see eyes, nose, and mouth because they are so tiny. With some of them we can see sort of an indication that there might be a beard on the fellow and that sort of stuff. Again, similar background for the sky where it's the wispy lines, which I like. Nice blacks here and there, black silhouette almost. There is some detail in it for the actual barn that's being raised. So I did that barn raising, and then I did a second one, and both of these are based on images from the Heritage Complex. And where that one, the barn was straight on, this one, the barn is back in perspective and everything. And in both of them, you have the fellows up in the rafters as they're building the barn, and then the families out in front. So I like those two blocks enough, and because they were individual blocks by themselves, I then took the block and cut it into a series of small blocks and put them all together, and you'll see that they're each segments of the other two blocks. So this is an image unto itself because even though it's taken from the other blocks, it's unique to itself because it is just a montage of the barn raising itself. All of these are just single color block prints. This one here was a result of those ones being on exhibit at the Heritage Complex. I was asked to do 3 heritage homes in a row, one each year, so each August I was out in the backyard carving the block to get the ink up. This is what's known as an artist proof. You can see there's no snow on either of the roofs, and again, by the size of it, I was able to do a fair amount of detail for the trees, the sky, the bricks of the building, and all the nice detailing there too. This block that I've been showing this is the initial stage. It's known as the artist proof, and in the artist proof I did this is one of 6 because I did 6 pulls. After I pulled that image, saw that I loved what was working with everything else, then I did go in and cut snow on both of the sets of roofs. And the resulting one, this is the card that was used. And you'll see that there is snow on both of the roofs. By me cutting out, that revealed the white of the snow. And this was used as a fundraiser, and for 3 years I got to do a different heritage home for that fundraiser for the local hospital. Up until now I've been talking about single color block prints. This is a multicolor block print, and it's actually a technique that's called elimination technique. So it's great for when you're registering your colors because it's all from one block. The registration system you use for it, you're using it continually through all your colors. So where the white was white for all the colors because that was cut away first. So you have to plan what you are going to be printing, what colors sequence it's going to be in. So you would do the yellow first, so where the greens and the reds are, there was yellow under that initially. But all the colors that come afterwards overlay the previous colors and everything. And there's actually a lot of nice evergreen detail in the background on that and everything too. So the lighter green was printed and then a darker green over top of it. So that allows for a lot more variance to the print than depending just on a single color. You can do blocks where it is separate blocks for each color and then just register them so they're all going to land in the right spot. This is called Christmas Carousel, and it was an edition of 12 that I did. This image, I cut the small block for it and then printed it up for another video that I was working on, and with it in mind that I could use this for my 2011 Christmas card. Instead of just going with the black and doing them each by hand as the image that was on the card, I took the image, scanned it on the computer, and then fed it through a program that I have that I then was able to take and tell different areas to be different colors. And so all that had been black on the original is now different colors here. I did leave black in some of the locations, and even in this area here where the inner part of the bell, so that it would have a little bit more contrast there. And that turned out to be my Christmas card for 2011. This is my most recent block, and this was for a special exhibit we had on teddy bears. And you see all the little cut marks all throughout the block. It isn't just, there's still a residual ink there, so it isn't just the gray with the lighter gray, you are seeing some black, but wherever it's cut in, that's where the ink won't go during the printing process itself. You can see the various textures I came up with for all the different segments and everything, different directions I take the tool and all. Now, whenever you're doing a block, you have to think in terms of the fact that it is going to be a reverse of what's on the block. In this case, there's no wording or anything, so it doesn't make a big difference, but what you cut is a reverse of what you get. And this is what we got from it. So the teddy bear in the original was off to the left. Now we put it here, and the teddy bear's off to the right of the actual block. So this, I then hand colored another one of the edition, and that's what went on display.